Welcome to the Crazy in 10 or Less. This is the show where I give it to you with 10 minutes or under, and if I don't, you know how we do. Anyway, I understand. I truly understand. That's the topic of the day. I'm Sam the Crazy Man Vera. Stop acting up. Let's get it. All right. Okay, here we go. So, this episode is going to be a little different. And the reason why is because I recognize that there's a lot of struggles internally here that we may not even talk about, that most people don't talk about until it's like too late. So, I'm going to share a story with you about how my mindset was formed from childhood on. So if you've been a fan or supporter of Catch the Craze podcast or even of my work, then you know that I'm very transparent and I share a lot of stories. Well, and you know, and if you don't know, if you're new to this, I'm just going to share this, so this might be a repeat. But when I was a kid, there were three things that influenced me to becoming an artist. Number one, my mom introducing me to Archie comics when I was a kid. Number two, seeing my brother draw three monkeys in a barrel. And number three, Too Close for Comfort, where the father was a comic strip artist and he had a series called Cosmic Cow. So those were the things that influenced the kid in me that wanted to be a creative. What that kid didn't know that along the way there were going to be a lot of failures and a lot of people that either intentionally or unintentionally tried to sabotage or dissuade, right? Change your mind on what it is that you're trying to pursue. So anyway, I started drawing as a kid. I was having fun. I loved it. And then I must have been, I don't know, maybe 5th grade, 6th grade. I was in elementary school. And my mom's boyfriend at the time, and I say boyfriend because he never put a ring on her finger. My mom's boyfriend at the time, he said, "You'll never amount to a real artist because you're a fraud. All you do is copy." Now, that was the first time where someone who wasn't related to me, an outside perspective, shattered my dream, or tried to. It devastated me. Where I ran to my clubhouse. So underneath the house, there was like this little room and the door, and I made it into a clubhouse. I ran in there and I sulked. And I wept. And then I got mad. And I said, I'm going to prove him wrong. But there was a choice. I could have gone left or could have gone right. But that was that first one. So then I started drawing. Trying to draw from my head, from my imagination. And it was very difficult because I used to copy everything. I would copy what I saw on TV. I would copy things from magazines or comic books. I would copy nature. So I started drawing. I started having fun. But then, as I'm growing, I'm realizing that there's a lot of other artists out there that are so much more advanced than I was. But we're the same age, and I couldn't understand why. And I admired them, but it gave me anxiety because I couldn't draw like them. Then that second disappointment came when my friends told me, why all your characters' heads so big and the body so small? Why did it look so warped? Why did it look so flat? Why is this, it's like, you're not a real artist. So I put the drawing away and I stopped for a little bit because I felt like it's not going to happen. It's not going to be possible. I'm not going to be able to be a real artist. And then I decided, let me try again. But now it's time to go to high school. I'm in junior high school and it's time to go to high school. And I applied for the School of Art and Design. I said, this is the way I'm going to get better. This is how I'm going to become a real artist. I know it. And I got rejected. And the rejection letter said it's because I live in a district a zone where there's a high school. the high school by me was 3 blocks away from where we lived. And they said, I couldn't. One, I wasn't an A student, I was a B student. So, my grades were like 90. I would get 90, 92, 89, 88. So between 80s and 90, low, that was where I sat. I wasn't the A student. So that was the other factor, right? They wanted you to be a superstar student in order to go to Manhattan, to the School of Art and Design. And I wanted to go there. And when I got that letter, it broke my heart that I had to go to this school that didn't have art. And so that was the next part. So that was the third time that my dream was shattered. And so I was like, forget this. So I focused on music. Somehow I ended up in the music scene and started doing that. But I had a passion for drawing. And I've always dreamt about drawing. And I was always beating myself. Why wasn't I good enough? And I went and bought the, How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. And I did all those things. And then, I was a big fan of Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man. And then when Image announced that they were breaking, the guys decided to come up with Image, I got re-energized again. And I said, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. So I started drawing again. I said, I'm going to make my own comic book. And I'm going to do this. And I'm going to do this. And I started sending submissions. And the rejection letters were coming in left and right. So it was like my whole life, all I was getting was rejected, criticized. You ain't good enough. You ain't good enough. You ain't good enough. And it was hard. And don't waste your time with that. Get a real job. Get a real job. Get a real job. You got to pay the bills. It wasn't paying the bills. It was aspirational. It wasn't realistic in the eyes of the community that was involved in. But I said, you know what? I'm going to try anyway and produce my own book. So I took some extra classes at the School of Visual Arts. And at that time I was creating crazy comics. And I decided to do it myself. I said, win, lose, or draw, whatever happens. People might not like what I draw or my stories, but I'm going to do it because I need to prove to me that I am good enough in my eyes. And that's hard because in society, we want people to appreciate what we do. We want feedback. That's just natural. The realities of all the things on the side, right? All the things that's happening on the side that affect your ability to stay focused, that affect your ability to build on momentum. So, I'm doing crazy comics, and I'm getting lost in it. And then here was the other setback. So I got lost in it, and I was putting all my money in it. But I've realized I'm married. Now it's affecting the home life. It's affecting our financials. So a few things happened. 3 things happened. Number 1, I was let down by people who were closest to me that I trusted. I got turned down. The contracts didn't go through with when we were so close to talking with getting an animation deal. And number 3, my wife was like, look, we can't sustain this. You got to make a decision. So those 3 factors forced me to just walk away for 10 years. And those 10 years were probably the most painful 10 years of my life. Because all I kept thinking about I felt like I was driving away from the place that brought me happiness. I'm looking at the back window in the vehicle and I'm watching the horizon just pass me by. And it was hard. It was hard. Because I would see the videos and I would see the posts of people that I was in the game with and they stood with it. And I would see the cosplayers going to New York Comic Con because I worked in the city and I knew every time there was an event. And I remember going as a fan versus as an exhibitor, and I felt awkward. I felt out of place, and it was hard. So when I made the decision to come back into the game, I didn't realize that I was going to come back at a time when the world was going to go through a serious setback, and it was going to change the dynamic of the economy. It's going to change the dynamic of business, how we interact, and so you can't see the future, so you don't know, and it made it harder to try to go back in. And I came back in with anxiety and fear. Can I do it? Should I do it? What am I doing? I got a great career, all these things. And I didn't anticipate that I was going to, lose my job in New York and my wife's going to lose her job. And then we sold our house and moved cross country and resettled in and then found it hard to get a job. And it was tough. And, financially, everything was getting crazy. But I said, you know what? And then coming in, I didn't know where to start, where to begin. So I started out with Forbidden, and then we did Catch the Crazies, but my heart was always talking about just finishing the project that I love dearly, which is Duty, and that which leads me to this point. I'm having the most fun I've ever had creating right now, and nothing's been perfect. There's been a lot of setbacks, whether it's health in the family, financial complication, whatever it is. There's always been challenges and things that's going to try to test your resolve. And there are people who are going to let you down. There are going to be people who are going to betray you. There are going to be people who doubt you. But rest assured that the universe is cheering for you. All the people that came before you that struggled through the mud and climbed that mountain through the trenches in the hailstorm and the horrible weather, and they made it to the top. They're cheering you. They want you to keep climbing. So you have to ask you, how far are you going to take it? Do you have what it takes to fight through the fear, the doubts, the naysayers? It ain't easy, I understand, believe me. Now, I said I'm having the most fun I've ever had. Have I reached where I wanted to go? No, I'm far from that. But I just wanted to be a creative and hopefully build an audience that appreciates what I do. And I'm loving the fact that, I'm on my 6th issue. I got a graphic novel coming out. I have a comic strip coming out in a paper that's going to be distributed in stores. I'm doing conventions. I've always wanted to. That's where I feel like the most at peace, conventions. And I'm doing it on my terms. I'm not racing. I'm not competing. I'm having fun. So it's going to be tough, buddy. It's going to be tough. It ain't easy. But don't give up on you, because the universe isn't. They're waiting for you. And you're going to realize when you get to that point where you reach that peak and you get past the clouds and you shake off the dust and the dirt and you rinse out your wet clothes and you look over the horizon, you see that sunset. You're going to forget what you just went through, because you're going to appreciate what you're experiencing at the moment. So keep fighting and keep climbing, because there's a beautiful horizon that awaits you. And I'm hoping that this helps. I'm hoping that someone out there can just take my experience and realize that nothing's ever going to be easy, but it's the climb that makes the difference. Keep climbing. That's the topic of the day. I don't know what you think. If you like this episode, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share it, like it, and recommend it to a friend. And if you haven't done so already, I would love for you to be part of my journey. Create memories with me. Sign up for the launch of the graphic novel, book number 4. And if you're going to be in Puerto Rico, April 7th through the 8th, or the 9th, I'll be there, and I hope to see you. I'm in booth number 125. And then if you're going to be at Central Comic Con in Waco, Texas, I'll be there as well. You guys have a blessed day. I'm Sam the Crazy Man Vera. This is the Crazy Channel Less. Peace.